Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander review for Magic the Gathering. We are in the Future Sight set, and today we're talking about our second Grandeur Commander. Today we're talking about Korlash, Heir to Blackblade. And Korlash is a legendary zombie warrior with power toughness star. Its mana value is 4, 2 generic, and 2 black. Korlash has a static ability. Korlash's power and toughness are each equal to the number of swamps you control. So, very much the Blackblade vibes here. You want lots of lands, but you're in mono black, which is very cool to have a lands matter commander in mono black. Second, it has a activated ability, 1 and a black. Regenerate Korlash. So it has a great form of protection that's pretty cheap, all things considered. Especially because there's lots of board wipes in today's meta, and we want to make sure that we are able to protect our commander as much as possible. And lastly, we have the Grandeur mechanic. So, like I said in the Baru video before this, Grandeur is an activated ability mechanic that requires you to discard a card of the same name as the creature on the battlefield you are activating. So in this case, Korlash, Heir to Blackblade. It reads, discard another card named Korlash, Heir to Blackblade. If you do this, search your library for up to 2 swamp cards, put them into play, tapped, then shuffle your library. Now the errata text is going to read something more like, search your library for 2 swamp cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Which is very cool. Very, very cool stuff. Now, one of the problems with Grandeur that you will see with all of these commanders is Commander is a singleton format, so this is very hard to do to get multiple copies of Korlash going on. You somehow have to make a copy of your commander. And then with the legend rule, you're gonna have to sacrifice the non-token copy, your actual commander. Then you're gonna somehow need to get it into your hand, and then discard it from your hand, and do it over and over and over again, so you can get multiple swamps into play. So that is very tricky, very difficult, very hard to do in a singleton format. So very, very often you don't build around these commanders for their Grandeur ability. With that said, really cool stuff, cares about swamps, and has a great way to protect itself. And very simple, no card rulings for this commander. A card to synergize with this commander, oddly enough, not the Blackblade Reforged, which is what this commander is all about in its title, but does the exact same thing. Lashwraith gives the equipped creature +1/+1 for each swamp you control. We want as many swamps as possible. And just to clarify, this does not care about the card name swamp, basic land. It just cares about the type swamp. So if you, for some reason, have non-basic swamps in this mono black deck, those will add to this creature's power and toughness. Not just base value-wise, but for the equipment that you're putting on it as well. And then a deck to build around this archetype is a creature lands deck. Now, we don't really have a lot of support for this in mono black. It is not mono black's thing to have land creatures, but there are a few lands that naturally can become creatures. Most of them you're going to have to do colorless shenanigans for. There are a few Awaken mechanic cards. And then we have the upgraded version of Awaken with Earthbend, and there's really no Earthbending cards in black. There's like maybe 1 or 2 at most. But these are oh my goodness, these are ways that you can animate your lands into creatures, and essentially what you want to do is just flood your board with as many swamps as possible, turn them into creatures, and go wide against your opponents, and go tall with your commander, and then maybe some of your other land creatures that you equip with things like Lashwraith, which would be very, very cool to see. Very difficult to build around. Again, there's not a whole lot of synergies for this archetype. Barely any that I'm aware of, but it would be very cool. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section. And that is going to do it for Korlash, Heir to Blackblade. With all of that being said about the singleton format being a very big hindrance for this commander because you're rarely ever going to use its grandeur ability, it is still a very powerful Voltron commander, and there's a lot of different deck ideas you can build with this commander. So it does have the rank of S tier. Lots of different deck ideas that you can find online, and I'd love to hear your guys' comments about this commander. If there's anything I missed or I didn't talk about, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys get to play this card and get to use it. This effect is not rare anymore. I'd say this effect is uncommon within the color scheme that has black in it, but mono black wise it is still pretty rare, so very interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks again, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!